riding by yourself, you tend to act some sort of way. As in, you only have to worry about yourself and not have to worry about anything else but your own personal safety. But when you have a passenger on board, that heightened sense of awareness really kicks in. And you really want to make sure that your riding is even better. And honestly, that is where your best riding should be. And on this ride, we will entail a few safety details on what you should do if you have a passenger on board. Before talking to the passenger, you want to double check everything on your bike, from the tire pressure to the oil pressure, and ensure that you have enough fuel in your tank. Also double check the drive belt. Make sure there's absolutely no cracks in the drive belt and that it is in good operating order. Then before you even allow the passenger to get on board, make sure that if you are wearing a helmet, they are wearing a helmet as well. I will always advocate for wearing a helmet. I know some people like to ride without helmets, but I will always advocate for wearing a helmet. And before you even get onto the bike, make sure that you and your passenger are absolutely clear on communication signals. In addition to the standard operating signals like left turn, right turn, slowing down, make sure that you also go through any other communication symbols, especially if you do not have any other ways to communicate while you are riding. Since we do not have wireless Bluetooth headsets in our helmets, we have decided to communicate through a thumbs up and thumbs down system. For us, thumbs up means that everything is good. If our thumbs are sideways, that means we probably need a little stretch break, but it's not that big of a deal at this time. If you have thumbs down, that means we have to stop immediately and stretch and maybe hit the restroom. And for our ride, that is more than enough. It's also always a good idea to communicate where exactly we are going. That way you can plan ahead for any planned stops, any rest stops, and if you're going to eat, make sure you understand where we're going to eat and which way we're going to get there. All of this matters. You also want to communicate what to expect while you are in motion. For example, if you are leaning to a left turn, you do expect the passenger to lean the same way as well. Same thing for the right turn. Make sure they also understand that any kind of swaying or adjustment of the seat while in motion does affect the ride feel, and that could pose a hazard, especially in pavement that is cracked or otherwise. While in motion, it is perfectly natural for the passenger to look left and right to see the sights as we ride along. But make sure you also communicate the importance of looking over the rider's shoulders so that you know what is ahead, and that you can also plan ahead as well. Because what the passenger does when traffic is oncoming is just as important as what the rider does. For the passenger, some of the most important things to remember are these. 1. Keep your hands near the hips of the rider. That way you can feel the motion of the road. 2. Look over the shoulder so you can anticipate what traffic is ahead. And 3. Always obey the rider's instructions and make sure that safety is always paramount while you are in motion. You do all of those things and you'll be in for a very great ride. As you have noticed, this passenger is also wearing a neon yellow vest. Also on the vest are reflectors on the back, so that way the visibility is a lot more clear. That is always a good recommendation. Communication also means communication for visibility. So the more visible you make yourself and your passenger, the more wary other drivers should be on the road. That way we all share the road equally. When I have a passenger on board, I usually refrain as much as I can from doing big, heavy leans into turns. It's just for the safety of the passenger and the safety for myself. And I'm saying that because as we are doing this roundabout on Highway 87 to head towards Pleasure Island, I'm keeping as upright as I possibly can. I know 30 miles per hour is not that big of a turn velocity, but it's just something that I'm totally aware of. I don't want to lean too much because I don't want to feel like I'm putting myself or my passenger in any kind of danger. And as you saw through that turn, the passenger moved right with me and doing all the hand signals right with me as I have instructed. That is the result of great communication before the ride. Make sure you take the time to do it. We are now approaching a stretch of refineries between Port Arthur and Sabine Pass before the Pleasure Island Bridge. If you know of this beforehand, make sure you communicate with your passenger what to expect, and if necessary, hold their breath if they do not have a full face mask. Another topic that you need to communicate with your passenger before you get on the ride is what to do when you come up on a railroad crossing. I usually give a thumbs up motion to the upward position to let them know that a railroad crossing is coming up and that the passenger needs to stand up as we cross the track, as you saw right there. Make sure you also communicate before the ride why it is important to stand up when you cross the railroad. It will save your spine in more ways than one. It might not seem like a big deal to some people, but if you know you're going to be crossing very tall bridges or any kind of high places on your route, make sure that you communicate in advance with your passenger that you are about to cross very tall bridges or go up into high places. And I'm saying this because we are crossing the Martin Luther King Jr. Bridge to head towards Pleasure Island. I know this is only a very short ride, but any kind of ride, it is always important to communicate safety and signals and everything that we have talked about. Make sure communication is paramount. If there is no communication, it's not going to be a good ride for you or the passenger. So I cannot stress this enough. Communicate, communicate, communicate. riding with a passenger is always a lot of fun. That way you have someone to share your adventures with. That is why I will always advocate for riding with a passenger, but I will also advocate total safety for all. I really hope that you have enjoyed this ride, and I truly hope that you have learned something that was all learned from previous experience and present experience. I truly hope that you have enjoyed this ride today to Pleasure Island. And right here in Southeast Texas, it's a beautiful sunny day, and I hope you find a lot more sunny days wherever you are. This is SFAPowerhouse, and I'm going to leave you with a few images from the Pleasure Island fishing piers right here next to the Marina. In the meantime, y'all take care, God bless you, and enjoy the ride.